graph linear equations?
Kind of.
Okay. Well, that is what we're here to do today. We're going to look at that topic today, okay? And I want you guys to ask as many questions as you can, because that's the only way I can help you when you talk, okay? Because I can't know what is in your mind if you don't answer me. Let me show you how the exam questions look like. This question here came from last year, people. This is a regular question. This was from 2022. This from 2021. Every year one of these questions comes. So, and these questions have a lot of marks. 4 and 5, 9, 11 marks this question normally have. So we're gonna get there today. And by the time we finish today, I want you guys to tell me if you are in a better place, if you understand it better, and so forth, okay? Guys, let's go now. So today I am going to introduce to you what we are going to do. And we are going to graph linear equation. Now, a linear equation is in the form of y equals to mx plus c. M is the gradient or the slope of the line, and that is the number that comes in front of the x. And if there is no number in front of the x, then the gradient is 1. The c tells you where the line will cross the y-axis. It is called the y-intercept. So in a typical BGCSE exam, these are the concept you have to understand. How to calculate the missing values in a table, graph the straight line from points on the table, calculate the gradient or the slope of the straight line, graph a line given a point on the line and the gradient and where two of the lines intersect, right? And so if we come across here, let us say the first thing we're going to learn how to calculate the gradient of a line, the gradient of the slope. So if we have an equation that says y equals to minus 2x plus 4. Without calculating the gradient, this number here is the gradient, that the slope, that is the slope of the line. And this number here tells you where it will cross the y-axis. So basically, you will see equation like that. You will see y equals to, let's say, 6 minus 2x over 3. You can see it as y equals to 2 towards x plus 4. Right? So basically, this is what you can see on an exam paper. All of them are the same thing. In the first one, your gradient is -2. So when you calculate your gradient, when you look at the equation, you can know if your answer is correct. Now, in this one here, the gradient is -2 over 3. But it will not cross the y-axis at 6. Because this 2 is divided by the 3, this 6 is also divided by the 3. So it will cross the y-axis at 2. So, right? So another way of writing this equation here would be y equals to 6. Sorry, y equals to 2 minus 2 over 3x. You see, this 3 is not over everything now. And then this one here, your gradient will be positive 2/3, and it will cross the y-axis at 4. So let me clear that and let us go. So the first thing, I'm going to teach you how to calculate the gradient, because that is what you have to know. Now, if I ask you to draw these, to plot this point, A equals to -2, 7, and B equals to 4, -5, and join the 2 points, this is what it should look like. That is what your line should look like. So we can use this line to get a lot of information. Can anybody tell me what the equation of this line is? Anybody can tell me what the equation of that line is, just in case you have to name the equation of a line? But you got to talk to me now. Is that a yes, no, maybe so?
1 second.
Okay.
Would it be y equals 1.5 x plus 3?
Now 1.5 x. Let me explain how to get it. Remember, y equals some kind of a x, and then we have a number here to be y intercept. But if we look at this line, we see it crossed the y at +3. So this last number here would be +3. Who understand that? Now to get the x, we start here, and we go, remember the gradient is rise over run. So I go up 1, 2, 1 across 1. So it is 2 over 1. But remember, y 2 over 1 is the same thing as 2x. So the equation of this line is 2x plus 3. We don't have to write the 1. Who understand that?
I do.
I still don't understand.
Pardon me?
I still don't understand.
What you don't understand, baby? Tell me, just talk to me. How
Okay,
I
like
come up with the equation?
Yeah, like how you get the line to go across from like the A to the B, and then how you get the line.
The question will give you 2 points and ask you to plot the points and then draw the line. So A is -2, 7. So A, -2 come from my x-axis first, and then I go up 7, put the dot there. That would be my point A. Point B would be 4, -5. So I come at 4 and come down 5 places, put my dot there. That would be my B, and then I join the line. Do you understand that now?
Yes.
So wouldn't our 2 be a -2, or is it a +2?
The 2 is negative here? It's a negative.
No, so I mean for the slope.
Yes. We didn't work on the slope yet. I'm going to show you how to work on the slope. But I am showing you that once we know the y-intercept, we can calculate the equation of the line. You start off with a point on the line that you know. We know this point because it crosses the y-axis here. So we start from there. We will put y equals, we know it got to be some kind of a x, and we know that this crosses here at 3, right? So it will be a +3. And so to get my gradient, I go up 1, 2, and this is another point on the line. 1, 2, another point of the line. So I will go up 2 and across 1. So 2 up across 1. So this is your gradient. So 2 over 1 is the same thing as 2, and you put on your x plus 3, right?
That's what I was meaning.
Yes, I understand. Because we went across to the left-hand side, it is a -2, right?
So you said it's the slope you're showing us how to calculate?
I know we didn't calculate it as yet. I'm just showing you how you can find the slope. I'm going to show how to calculate it now. So I'm going to take off this point that I have. Now, the slope, the formula for a slope is M is the slope because M is in front of M equals, and you can make the note as you go along because sometimes this pen would freeze up, okay? So as I write it is okay for you to write. The slope is m equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Do you know what those are all about?
Yeah.
Yes, so they are the two coordinates for the
All
2
right.
points.
So in your first by this, you remember the first entry is x and y, right? So we can call this our x1, y1, x2, y2. Having known that now, we can put that into our formula. M equals, remember y2, which would be minus 5 minus 7. So that is y2 minus y1 over x2, which would be 4 minus, and since this is a negative 2, I put that in a bracket. So minus 5 minus 7 will give us minus 12. Who understands so far?
I do.
And this means minus multiplied by minus, so this is a plus. So 4 plus 2 is 6. So minus 12 divided by 6 would be minus 2, and that is how you calculate slope. So you can write down this formula, write this same thing, and just keep it in your book so that you can refer to it. Right? Take a minute and write it down. Any questions so far?
No, sir.
All right. I just want you to write that down. So when you do, you will be able to do it. When you finish, just give me the hands up so that I know that you're done. Is there anybody who's coming here for the first time from last week?
I am.
Okay. So every Saturday, are you writing extended?
Yes, sir.
Extended is on Monday night from 7 to 8, okay?
Unfortunately, I have work, so I will
That's
try
fine,
to
that's
log
fine.
in. But I'll try
What
to find a
happened?
way to do it.
All right. What happened if you go back on the same page like last
Yes.
week? The recording was there, so you can go and view the recording of the
Okay.
lesson if you miss it.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't post last week extended because I have to do a correction on one concept that I explained.
All right, sir.
So after I do it Monday night, I will let it be posted on the website.
Okay, thank you.
It go on YouTube. So
Okay.
I want to give you guys every opportunity to be successful. And if there's a topic that you don't know, come and tell me, and then if I have to research it to do it the next week, I will do it. Okay? Because I
Okay.
didn't. Yeah. So I
Appreciate that.
I want to make sure that you guys get the full opportunity to pass this exam. Do we have any private candidates here?
I'm private candidate.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. This platform was created to help everybody in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Okay. So I'm going to take off what I have there now, right?
Excuse me, I have a question.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so how did you get I wasn't understanding how you got negative 12 and
How I get in? Okay. At the top here, this number here is negative 5 and negative 7, right? When we have the same sign, we add them and keep the sign. So 5 and 7 is 12, and we keep our negative sign because they are both negative. On the other hand now, if this was a positive, right, I would have had to subtract. And I would have said 5 from 7 would be 2. And because 7 is bigger than 5, it will be a positive 2. You think you follow?
yes, I understand.
Okay. Now, if this one here was the negative and this one was the positive, we still have to take away. But this time, our answer would have been a negative 2 because the 7 is bigger than 5. So far, so good?
Yes, sir.
All right. I like when y'all ask questions, that's the only way I can help you. Now, I have here another point, and I'm going to let you guys calculate the gradient for me. These are the 2 points, P, -4, -5. So let me put it up. That is what it looks like there. So this is P. My first number always come from the x-axis, -4, -5, and my Q, and then I draw the line. So the equation of this line would be 1, 2. This time it would be 2x, which is positive 2x plus 3, because this has a positive gradient. So what I want you to do, use these 2 points here and work out your gradient, and then I will go through with you guys. You know what you should get as your answer. You should get, all right, let me not say it. You know what you should get as your answer, and then I will help you guys. When you finish, just tell me, no. So I'm going to write down the formula in the meantime.
I'm finished.
M equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I made some people co-host. Must please look at the room for me, because while I teach, sometimes I miss anybody in the waiting room. Okay. Neely, I'm making you co-host also.
Okay, sir.
All right. Taylor, can you tell me what would be on my first line there? This is my M. What is my y2 and what is my y1?
Did you call somebody specifically? Or...
I call Taylor. I call on Taylor. If she can't, then anybody can answer.
-5 and 5 minus
No,
+5.
which one is my y2?
Your y2.
For a matter of fact,
Your
anyone can
y2
be
was +5.
Yes, but anyone can be it. But if you start off here with the 2, this has to be the 2 for all 2 of them, okay? So 5 minus, and because this is a
5
-5,
minus 5.
I put it in a bracket, right? And then I put my 1 minus -4. So when 2 negative, like they become a positive. So this means 5 plus 5 equals to 10. Down here mean 2 negative signs together, so it is a positive. 1 plus 4 is 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2, and this time is a positive 2. So your gradient is positive 2.
+2.
Got it?
Yes.
All right. Any question on calculating gradient?
I got something different.
What you get?
So the first 2 coordinates, I labeled them as x1 and y1. And then the second one, I did x2 and y2. So my first line was 5 subtract -4, and then my second line was 1 subtract 5, and I got 9.
No, you mix it up, darling. Okay? You take this one here as your x and y. Watch, let me label it again, let you see. This is 1 point on the line, and this is 1 point on the line, okay? So on this line here, the first number there would be your x, your second number is your y, right? On this one, your first number is your x, your second number is your y. So because this is our first point, I can call this 1, 1, and this one will be 2, 2. I can't get the same thing from the 1 there. You follow?
Yes, sir. I see why I mix it up.
Okay, you understand it now, though?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, I am going to take you to an exam question and let you calculate the gradient of. Now, look at this question. I want you to take, whenever you have an exam, you will have to calculate for the table, but I want you to use this point and this point here and calculate your gradient. So the first point would be negative 4 comma 4, and your second point would be 0 comma negative 4. So this is an exam question that you're going to calculate your gradient from. You with me?
That's all.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
When you work it out, let me know. And every question on the paper, the same thing. You have to calculate the gradient. You have to draw another graph. After I'm finished with that, I'm going to teach you how to work out this other graph. And then I'm going to teach you how to work out these missing parts on the table if you don't know. And please don't be ashamed to say that you don't know, right?
I'm finished.
All right, what did you get as your answer?
-2.
-2. Anybody else get that? Neil, you get that?
I was working out and then I had let someone in the door.
Okay, go ahead. Taylor, you getting two?
I got -2.
All right. And you will know that you're right? Because -2 is in front of the x there. So when you get that, but you see it is 2 points. You just can't write it from there. You have to show your working how you get it in the exam, okay?
That's all.
So do I need to go through that? For the benefit
No,
of
sir.
anybody who might not know? All right.
No, sir.
All right. So I'm done. I think let me give you a different one. Okay, do this one here. Use this point and use this point. This is the last one we will do for gradient. Calculate the gradient of that. So go ahead and do it.
Which one did you say we're doing?
We are calculating we're still doing gradient. This is the last gradient. We are doing this one here. And I ask you to use these. You can use any of the points, but preferably I prefer you would use one page that they give you, because if you calculate these wrong, then your gradient will be wrong.
I'm done.
All right, let's give everybody another minute. Now remember, I can only help you if you talk with me. Aisha, are you okay with calculating gradient?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what about is it K on a roll?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So who want to talk to me what to write? I'm going to write down M equal. You tell me, what do I write down?
Did you ask for anyone specifically?
Anyone.
So M equals y to the power of 2. Take away
No,
y.
it's not power of 2. Y 2. That is the
Two.
second y. Minus y 1 over x2 minus x1. It's a good thing to write your formula because you will know what number goes where, okay?
Yes, sir.
So what do I do next? What is my
Take
y2?
away
It would be
2.
2.
Take away 8
Take away 8.
over 4. Take away, open bracket, -4.
Very, very good. So what we get at the top there?
-3 over 4. Well, at the top we have -3.
No, let us work out step by step. 2 minus 8 will give us -6, okay? And then this 2 will become positive, so 4 plus 4 is 8. Let us go through the steps so that everybody sees how we end up that. So now we got to write gradient in simplest form. What can divide both of those? 2, right?
2. Yes,
So
sir.
if I divide -6 by 2, I will get -3.
2.
And if I divide 8 by 2, I will get 4. So our gradient is -3, 4. So when I look here now, I see -3 over 4, and that is my gradient. Everybody understand that?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
What
sir.
would be my, if I look at this same equation, where would the line cross the y-axis?
At 5.
At 5, because like how this 3 divided by the 4, this 20 also got to be divided by 4, so it will be at 5, okay? Everybody understand that?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello? Pardon me? Somebody say something? Somebody say they lost? Did I hear that? Okay, so now I am comfortable that everybody can do gradient. So we do that, right? Now, because these two are only 1 point, I'm going to show you a trick how to find these missing numbers without working it, but I'm going to show you how to work it out first. So let me teach you, first of all, how to work out these two missing numbers. Anybody know how to work them out?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Do you work it out first, and then I will work it, and then we go answer the whole thing on the paper.
You have to substitute the x value into the equation.
That's correct. So this first thing, always write down y equals to 20 minus 3x over 4. Then the next line will be y equals to 20 minus 3 times, in this case, x is 2, right? And all of that over 4. I like to show you step by step, right? So it will be y equals to 20 minus 6 over 4. You don't have to do all of this once you understand it. Y equals 20 minus 6 is how much?
14.
14 over 4. And when I simplify that, what will I get?
7 over 2.
You guess? No. All right, yeah, you can get 2, 7. So it is 7 over 2, but we don't want it like that. We want it,
3.5.
you can get 3.5. So this point here would be 3.5. Good? So I'm going to clear this up now. Repeat the same process with the 8. Repeat the same process with the 8. This time I will not put 2. I would put y equals to 20 minus 3 times 8 over 4. Y equals to 20 minus 24 over 4. Y equals to what? Who want to tell me that? Minus 4.
-4.
Minus 4 over 4. And when we simplify that, y equals to -1.
-1.
So this here would be -1. All those who understand that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, I want you to copy this line so that when I go on the graph, I don't have to come back. Copy these points, so when I go on the graph, you're going to tell me what they look, what are the coordinates we're going to plot. We are going to leave out this one for the time being. This one, and we're going to leave out. Give me these 3 that you know. 1, 2, 3. So let me go on my graph paper. -4, 8. So -4, 8 would be one of the points. So this would be one of the point. What was the next one?
0, 5.
0, 5. So 0, and I go up 5. And the next one that we know there.
4, 2.
4, 2.
4, 2. So 4, 2. So now you take your ruler and your pencil. Let me just get this Let me just clear this thing here. And I get my line, and I draw my line right across the page. From there, I go right across there. I go right across the page here. My graph might be off a little bit. All right, let's do that. So this point that we didn't know 2. So we go on the x and find 2. And if I go up on 2, right? You should be able to get what we had here, 3.5. But because my graph is off a little bit, when to find that point, you go up on your 2, and it should be you should, this line should have been crossing somewhere around here. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, but it's always a good thing to do the working, because if you might get some problem reading it. So always understand how to plot these points now.
The third point is 4-2, but you are 4-1.
Sorry? What? Okay,
The
let me
third
go.
point.
Oh, I have. Oh, that is why. Let me clear it up. Let me clear it up. Thank you. What is it? 4-2? So it should be okay now. You see, when you have to double check your work. So now if I go on my 2 and I get this point, you see this point is 3.5.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So once you graph it correctly, you go up on the x value that you know, and that is my point. I passed. It is between 3 and 4, exactly halfway. So that means it is 3.5. Let us see what was the next value we would have missed. We would have missed 8, right? So now when we come to 8, you see it is on -1. So if you don't know how to do the table, once you plot the 3 points and you draw your line across, you can find the value. All those who understand so far?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So this was what 3.5. 3.5. This was -1. So we know. Oh, another thing. You see this when you're drawing your graph. Never draw the line in the middle, because if you draw it in the middle, it will not be able to accommodate all these points that we have here. Okay, so let us say this is your graph. I don't have a graph paper that I can show you. You start at your graph paper. You start at -6, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0. When you reach at 0, you draw you're drawing your y-axis, pass it through. When you do that, you know that you would have enough space on the left and enough space on the right. All those who understand that?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
And
sir.
when you go to do the y, you do the same thing. You start from the bottom, or you can start from the top. But if you start at the top, you got to start at 10, 9, 8, 7. So if the bottom is shorter, so you can start at -6, -5, 4, 3, and let us say here your 0 is. That is where, don't worry about these points that you count. Here is where you're going to draw that line. So you will have enough space at the bottom to accommodate -6, and you will have enough space at the top to accommodate 10. All those who think they understand now how to set up your graph paper.
Yes, sir.
You just don't go on the graph paper and start dividing your line into 2 equal pieces, because if you do that, you will not. You might have up to the -6, but on the other side, you will not have enough space. You with me, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So on this question, so far, we would have learned how to do a line. We would have learned how to fill out our table. we also we know that one, which is a 2 point. We know this one to do our line, and then plot the point to get this line here that we have here, right? And then we would have learned how to calculate the gradient. So those are 2 and 3, 5, and 2, 7 points you can get on that. Now this is the next graph that we're going to do, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Read what it says to me.
Another graph goes to the point -4, -2, and has a gradient of 1/2.
That's a
Draw this
positive.
graph on
That's a
the same
positive gradient, right? You see, draw
Yes.
this graph on the same coordinate plane. That means you got to do it on the same paper. So -4, -2 is the point that we on the line. So I'm going to come down. This is my -4, and so this would be 1 point on the line, because that is what it says, right? -4, -2 is a point on the line, and they give you the gradient. Once we know the gradient, and it's a positive gradient, the gradient is 1/2. This is your rise, and this is your run. Your rise means you go up. The top number tells you how you go up. The bottom number tells you go left or right. If it is a negative number, then you go to the left. If it is a positive number, then you go to the right. In this case, it's a positive number. You always go up with the first number. So I will go up 1, go across 1, 2 because it's positive. Put a dot there because that will be another point on the line. But I don't have to put them very close. I can go up 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, and put it a little bit farther. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. And once I have about 3 or 4 points, that is enough to draw our line. So now we will draw the line to connect those points. Starting from there, make sure it goes through all the points. And I always like it to go right across my graph paper. I always like it to go right across my graph paper. So that is how you. Oh, by the way, the first line that we draw, we have to do it. What was the line? The line was y equals to 20 minus what? Minus 3x over 4. And in this case, you see the y-intercept is at 5 because 20 divided by 4 is 5. Write it because it's 2 graphs we are drawing on the paper. If you do not label the first graph, they will not know which graph is which. So it is very important that you label that first graph. You don't have to label the second one. All those who understand how to graph that line.
Yes, sir.
You always find the starting point, right? And then you use the gradient to do it. Good? Now the last question is a 1 point. Write down the coordinates of the point where the lines intersect. So you come back here. So what is the coordinate of the point where the lines intersect?
4, 2.
4, 2.
So this last answer here would be, you put it in bracket 4, 2. Okay? And that's how you would get 1 and 3, 4, and 2, 6, and 3, 9, and 2. That's 11-point question. All those who understand it.
Yes, sir.
Pardon me. So somebody
Can you do the rise over the run again, please?
The rise over the run. If we have if I have -2 over 3, your top number is your rise. Your bottom number is your run. Your top number, you always go up. Negative or positive, you always go up, right? But is there cross? No, because you see this is up there. That means we still got to go up to. Let me take it off this graph, people. Let me take off the lines let me reset the graph, people. I had -2 over 3. This is your rise. This is your run. Right? So this question can also come 2 there, the line there, the 2 at the top, the 3 at the bottom. It doesn't matter. This means it's a negative gradient. So this line will slope towards the left-hand side. So let us say that we know that this was a point on our line, or any point we can take. Let's start with that. The 2 tells us we go up 1, 2, and because it's a negative, that means I will go across on the run 1, 2, 3, and put a dot there. Again, I start here now, go up 1, 2, then I go 1, 2, 3, put a dot there, and I have 3 points now. Let us say I don't have enough space on my line. I start back from the original point, come down 1, 2, and I go across 1, 2, 3 in the opposite direction because I came in the opposite direction. You understand that? And then we draw that line in to connect all those points. If one point is out of place, you know you have to recalculate because all the points should line up. And that is how we graph a line. Let me find out any questions so far before I go on.
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay, let me find one where let me see what it gives. I'm gonna come. In the second hour, I'm gonna do these problems. Now, this came from a 2012 paper, right? It say the point should lie on a straight line. Therefore, the data for one of the point is incorrect. Write down the coordinates of the incorrect point and then the correct point. So in order for us to do that, it says we have to draw up our graph paper and plot these points. Copy these so that I don't have to turn. I have a graph prepared for that. So negative 2, 2. Negative 2, 2, that is 1 point. Anybody know the next point? 0, 3. 0, 3.
4 and 5.
4, what is it?
4 and 5.
4 and 5. Next one.
6 and 6.
6 and 6.
8 and 9. 8 and 9.
8
and 9.
9. So don't try to bend your line to suit it now. So I will start there. Okay, let me do this first. I will try there, and if I try to come, my points are not lining up, right? So that I know that I can't draw it. So I can draw the line here. And all the rest of lines are lined up here, isn't that so? So let me continue.
The incorrect is 8 and 9.
So which point is incorrect?
8 and 9.
8, 9. So the incorrect point for your answer here would be 8, 9. So that is the incorrect point. So what would be the correct point? Look, sorry, did I do the graph?
You did, but it wiped out it.
Okay, no, yes.
Okay.
All right, so what would be the correct point?
That's 7.
The point would be 8 and it would be 7.
8
so
is 7.
correct point would be 8, 7. You see how that point, those 2 points are easy to get?
Could you explain it over, please?
Okay. You understand how I get this line?
No, sir.
Okay. They give us the points here. The points were negative 2, 2, 0, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 8, 9. So when we go on our graph paper, those are the plot points that we plot. I can't recall the points. But these are negative 2, 2. So negative 2, 2. So this was one of the point. Negative 2, 2. Then 0, 3 was another point. Then, which one? 2, 4, was it? 4, 5. So 4, 5, that was one of the points. And then then whatever they give us again here. 6, 6. They give us 6, 6. So that was another point on the line. Let me do them back in blue. That, right? And then the last one was 8, 9. So I had to plot what they give me. But if I try to get there, my points will not line up. So I line up all the points that can line up, and I take my line right across here. So when I look, I see 8, 9 is not part. That was the incorrect one. So the incorrect point was 8, 9. So this was the incorrect one, okay? So that is how I write that there. But then they ask you to find the correct point. So when I look at my graph on 8, this is the point they want. So I correct it and say 8. And when I come across here, I see 7. So the corrected point would be 8, 7. Do you understand that now?
Yes, sir.
Now, you see this one say? It says calculate the gradient. Now, when we are going to calculate the gradient, we cannot use this point because this is not a point on the line. We can use any pair. So I want you now to calculate what the gradient will be. So let me just clear up these answers here. Remember, this is not a point on the line, so you can't use that. So you can choose any 2 points that you want, except this one here. So give it a try. Any questions so far? Lundy?
No, sir.
Ramsey? Monroe? Williams?
No,
Smith?
sir.
Michaela?
I got a half.
You get a half? So let us see if that is correct. Which two? I'm going to choose any 2 points. I will choose negative 2 and 2 as one of my points. And I will use 6, 6. So my y2 would be 6 minus 2 over 6 minus 2. When I work out the top, I get 4 because 6 minus 2 is positive 4. This is 2 plus 6 plus 2 is 8. 4 into 8, 1, 2. So your gradient is 1 over 2. And you have to show your working to get your 2 points. Who understand that? So you see, you're getting it, right? All those who have a better understanding now as to how to find gradient, just indicate by showing your hands. All right. Good. Very good. I'm glad that I was of help. Now, you see this one here agreeing? Thank you. You see, it's the same question. Another graph goes through the point of -1, 7 and has a gradient of -1. Because this is a whole number, your gradient will be -1 over 1 because it's rise over run, right? So the first thing we're going to find the starting point. -1, 7. So I go on my graph. What was it? -1, 7?
Yes.
-1, 7. So I go up there. So that is my starting point. My gradient is -1, right?
Yes.
Is -1. So that would be my rise and my run would be 1. So I will go from this point, I will go up 1, and because it's negative, I go across 1. That will be my point. I don't have to put the point close like that. So I go up 1, 1, 1. I can skip. Now, if I don't have more space, I can go one more time there. I can come down now, one, put my point there. That is enough to draw my line. And so now, I am going to take my ruler, and please draw these lines with ruler straight. And I like to go right across my graph paper. That is what I like to do. Good. And so, that is the second line that we would have drawn. Isn't that the same question like we did on the previous one?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes, sir.
that is 3 points for that. And the last thing, say the same thing again. Write down the coordinates where the graphs intersect.
The graphs intersect.
So look at it carefully now.
Intersect. That's 2 and 4. 2, 4.
2 and 4. So the answer, always make sure you put it in parentheses. 2, comma, 4. It must be separated by a comma. And that is how you get 11 points. Who can promise me that they're going to get their 11 points?
I have a question.
Go right ahead.
So since it doesn't have a equation already to label it, would we have to make an equation to label?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Okay.
They when they look at it, they will know that those were when they will see that this was the point that was out of place, so they will know that this was the first one, right?
Okay, yes, sir.
And this would be your second one, but you don't have to. But let us say we have to write out an equation. What would be the equation of this line here? See if you can get it out for me. You know the equation got to be equal to y equal to some kind of an x, and we got to get a number the last here. But when we look at the line here, we see it pass through here.
So it's y equals 1 over 2x plus...
This is positive 3, right? So
yes, sir.
So I go up 1, 1, 2. 1, and 1 over 2 a half x, okay? That is the equation of that line. You with me?
Mr. K, say that again.
What?
That little piece you said just now. With the equation.
Now, how to get the equation?
Uh-huh.
You know your equation is the form of y equals to mx plus c. Here is the c is where it crosses the y in the y-axis. This m is the number that comes in front of the x. So I will write down my equation as y equals to some kind of x that we don't know yet. And then we look and see where the line crosses the y-axis. And it crosses here, right? So that will be a plus 3. So now we got to work out what number goes in front of the x. So I start at this point, and I go across to a point that will get to the next point on the line. So I go up 1, and I go
over
2. So that is how I get 1 over 2.
So you rise and you fall. Yeah.
Another way, I don't want you to fool with this. Another way I can write that is y equals to 2x plus 6 over 2. No, it will be x plus 6 over 2, because this means 1 over 2x, and if I divide it, right, so but don't fool with that. Okay? Everybody good with me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
My next book.
All right. I want to do this. I want to do this last one because it's a little bit complicated for some of us, right? Can you guys know how to work? This is the last one we're going to do for this, and then I'm going to, in the second hour, I'm going to do the parabola. Is the same steps, but that time it will not be a straight line. You see how this line. How would we do our graph, people here? Tell me how would we come to get our graph, people?
Can you repeat that, please?
If these are how we do our graph, people, so how would we draw up to sorry to get to draw the x and y axis on our graph?
It would be -2, -1, and then 0. And then we would draw the y-axis on the 0, and then it would be
Yes.
1.
Yes, but we notice that we would have some extra space because 6 we'll have more than that. So I can say -2, -1. I can start at -3, -2, -1, 0, because I know I will have more than 6 spaces on this side. And I start from -8, and then I meet my 0 there, and here is where I will draw my x-axis. Okay, good. Now you can use your calculator to work out this. First of all, you write down the equation. Where is the equation? Use that, draw a straight. Okay. Okay, they didn't tell any equation. So the first thing, let me work out this complete question. Tell me these 2 points when I'm
The
coming down.
equation is by D.
Y equals 2x minus 6.
We not ready. That would come for this part here. That is not the equation that we were ready. We are part A. We are going to draw up our graph. That is for 1 point, only to draw the graph, right? Now part B, we are going to draw a straight line that join these 2 points. Remember these 2 points for me, 0, 4. So let me go on my real graph, people. 0, 4. That is one of the points. Or what is the other point?
3, -5.
3, -5. So now I have my 2 points. I will draw the line to connect those 2 points. I don't have to extend it because they only tell me draw those 2 points, right? Good. They didn't give any name and so forth. So I draw that. Now they say find the gradient of the line from B. So I'm going to use those 2 points. I don't have to go on the graph if I can work it out right here. So what do I do to find my gradient? What is my y2?
-5.
I'll give me -5
Take away
minus 4 over 3 minus 0. So when I work out the top, what will I get there?
-9.
-9 over 3.
3.
Right? 3. So we remember we do it in simplest form. 3 into 3, 1. 3 into 9, 3, but this is a -3. So our gradient is -3. You don't have to put it over 1. If you have it over 1, you just write the top number, -3. So the gradient is -3. Who understand that?
I do.
And
Excuse
now,
me, sir. Where did you get negative?
pardon me?
Where did you get -5?
Because I have -5 and -4, 2 same signs. I have to add and keep the sign. So 5 plus 4 is 9, and I keep the negative sign. So I get -9 there. At the bottom, I have 3 minus 0, which is a +3. And now I'm going to divide. 3 into itself 1, and 3 into -9 is -3. A positive divided by a negative is a negative. You got me there?
Yes, sir.
Sure?
Yes, sir.
Now, what if I'm going to work out? I want to work out the points. I want to work out the points here. Okay, let me erase this part that I have here. Work it out for me, please. You always start out by putting down your equation y equals to 2x minus 6 instead of x 2 times -1 minus 6. This is going to give us -2, -6, which will give us -8. You agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Or not sure?
I agree.
This one would be 2 times 8 minus 6. 16 minus 6 is what?
It's 2 times 5.
It's 2 times 5.
Oh, 5. It's going to be 10. 10 minus 6 is going to be 4. So this is 4. You with me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. So now you say draw and label the graph. You see, they always say label. So I'm going to plot these points now. -1, -8. So -1, -8 would be here. Next point. Anybody got the next point for me? Let me go back there.
1, -4.
What's the point for me? 1, -4. 1, -4. Any other point?
3, 0.
3, 0. Any more?
4, 2.
4, 2. Any more?
5, 4.
5, 4. And again, we must use our ruler and pencil to draw this line through. That is our line. And you remember they say label it. What do we label it? Y equals to 2x minus 6. Y equals to 2x minus 6. And you notice it crossed the y-axis at -6 there? Yes, no, maybe so.
Yes, sir.
And then they say state the coordinates of the y-intercept. So they want you to write down the coordinates of the y-intercept. So what would you write as the coordinates for your y-intercept? Coordinates, you always write 2 numbers.
0, -6.
This is our y-intercept, right? So your first number comes for your x-axis. You go on your x-axis, you see 0. So that point would be 0, -6. That is the coordinate of it. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes.
Now I'm going to clear up this board. I'm now going to teach you any question on graphing those. Now this was a question that came from 2023 paper 2. And this type is not a straight line, it is a curve. Right? So they say they give us the point on the curve. And so now you see the table shows the relationship between the height of a box and its cross section. That means its base area, right? So they say they give you what scale to use. 1 cm to 1 unit for the height, and a vertical scale of 1 cm to 10 units for the cross section. Plot the data points from the table and join them with a smooth curve. And then you got to answer these 2 questions. So the height, what do you say? Once from the height, okay. So it's a horizontal scale. So our horizontal scale would be our x-axis. So that is it. We come from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 15, because that is what is on the table, up to 15. You see that? And then the vertical scale, which is the y-axis, we use 1 cm to 10 units. So this is the vertical scale. So 1 cm, 10, so we are going to come 10, 20, 30, 40, and so forth. Who understands so far?
Can you repeat, please?
Okay, this is how you have to draw up your graph paper. It tells you on the horizontal scale, this is the horizontal scale, which is the y-axis. Yeah, sorry, the x-axis. And we're going to label it based upon what we have on the height, because this is the height. 1, 1.5, but we're going to count from 1 to 15. We're not going to start in between. So we label it, they say 1 unit for one of the things. So 1, 2, and we have to end up with 15 there. Who understand that?
I understand.
And for the height, we got, you said 1 cm represent 10 units. So on our height, this is 1 cm. So we are going to count in 10, 20, 30, up to the biggest number that you have there, which is 180. Which is 180. We look at that from the table, 180. Everybody understand that?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
And
sir.
so now we are going to plot the points. 180. So this is my 1, and I go up all the way to 180, put that first point there. We go back to the second point. Our second point was 1.5 to 120. So 1.5 is between 1 and 2, right? And I'm going to 120. So here is it is between 1 and 2. This is my 1.5 on the 120 line. Who with me there?
Also.
I'm here. I'm with you.
All right. I want you to help. Some of you help me look at this so that I don't have to turn all the time. 365 36. 360. This is 3, and I go up to 60. 5, go to 36. 5, this is 30, 32, 34, 36. Each of these blocks is 2, because from 30 to 40, that is 10, right? And we have 5 boxes. So each box will be 2, and that is how I end up with 36 there. Everybody understand that?
Yes, sir.
6, 30, 9, 20. 6, 30, 9, 20. Anybody copy the next two? 12, 15, 15, 12. 12, 15. So 12 gonna be halfway between the right. And 15, 12, 10, and 2, 12. So those are the points. Who understand how I plot the points there?
I understand.
So now, your job is to you can't use any ruler for any part of this now, because we want a smooth curve. You do it lightly until you join the points there. Of course, you would have your paper. You can turn your paper so I can't turn my screen. I'm trying as best as I can.
Would it be against the rules to use a protractor for such a question?
Give me a second. What would you do with the protractor?
I would try to align it with the curve, and if it was a straight line closer to the words 180, I could flip it over and use it as a ruler in such a scenario.
No, they don't want any. It's a freehand sketch you gotta make here. Okay? Now.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
When you make a sketch, when we mark, we are given an answer key, right? Your sketch might not have what the answer key has, but if you read correctly from your sketch, you will get the full points, and we call it follow through, right? So let us look at the question. They say use your graph, and it's an estimate, so you can be off by a point something, but you can't off by whole 5 or so. The cross-sectional area when the height is 4 units, right? They want you got to estimate the cross-sectional area when the height is 4 units. So you go on your graph, you know that here is your height and this is your cross-section, right? So we go to 4 units. This is your 4, and you go up on your graph. So this is the point that we're talking. Let me use a different color. So this is the point that we are talking about, right? So if we come straight across, you can use your ruler just to line it up lightly with your pencil. That's only for you to see. You can use your ruler, draw a light line here with pencil for you to see exactly where this line will come up here, right? So if that is what you have, this would be 40, right? And remember, each of these blocks would be 2, because between 40 to 50 is 10, and we have 5 blocks. And if we have 5 blocks, then each box will represent 2. So this will be 40, 42, 44, 46. So for this question here, it would be 46. If you use your drawing, whatever you use on your, if let's say your graph was something like this, and when you look at your 4, it is here, and you read that, you will get the points for that. You understand me? Because now I'm going to show you something there. It is, you see what the question says? Use your graph, not the graph that we predict in the answer, or your whatever you do. So that is the answer for that. All those who understand it.
I understand.
So now I want you go to pardon me? I didn't get that. All right, let me move on. Now I want you to look at the graph now. Tell me the height when the cross section is 90. You look at the graph now. My cross section is 90. So what will be the height?
3. 2.
If you put 3, you'll be off by many, so they will you wouldn't get a point for that.
2.
All right.
2.5.
This is my 90, and I come, and when you see here, it is 1 block after the 2, right? It is 1 block after the 2. So that is why when you use your ruler, you will see it is 1 block. So remember, each block is 0.2. So right? Because 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 will give us to the next number. So the answer, the correct answer that they're looking for would be 2.2, because this first block here is 0.2. You with me?
So if we were to just say 2, would we get it right?
No, because if you had 2.1 or 2.3, you will get full mark. You can be plus or minus a 0.1. Good?
Okay.
But try as much as possible to be as close as possible that you can. So it would be, what did I say? We get 2.2 as the answer there. You see? And it's the same thing that I would, like, look at how I draw this one here, right? This one is exact. This graph that I drew was exactly on the 2, and because that I can put 2, because it is exactly on that line, I can put 2 and I get full marks for that. You understand the point that I'm trying to get? Whatever your graph shows, that is what you write. Everybody clear with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Don't try to imagine what you might think, because they say you're using your graph. Okay? All right. So what I'm going to do now is to teach you how to graph a quadratic function or a parabola. You know that you would have a curve if you have a x square. Now, This, remember, when we are doing a straight line is in the form of y equals to mx plus c. With a parabola, it is y equals to ax squared plus bx plus c. And when you come to do extended paper, you would have to know the value of a. Your a would be whatever number is in front of the x square. Your b would be whatever number is in front of the x, and your c would always be where the curve or the parabola crosses your y-axis. This is always the y-intercept. Oh, so far so good?
Yes.
Yes, sir. So C is the y-intercept.
Pardon me?
C would be the y-intercept.
Yes, so I'm going to go through this whole question for you so that you can understand. And please make your own notes, because all I can do here, because you don't have your graph paper to work it on, you can go home and practice it on your own personal graph paper when you go home. If you don't have a question, go to the student shed, mathematics BGCSE, and do the core. This come on the paper 2. So first of all, I want you to work out the value of these two boxes, that box and that box here. Just like how we were doing for the straight line, the same method we got to use to work out those boxes, and that is for 2 points.
Zero and -6.
You get that? So I like working out. So I put y equals to x squared, and it will be -2 square, right? Minus, what is x? X is -2, and then -6. So this is going to give it +4, +2, -6. 4 plus 2 is 6, -6. So this is 0. Everybody understand how I get that 0?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Did you work it and get that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the next one will be y equals to, this time is 1. This will be 1 squared minus 1 minus 6. So they're going to give us 1 minus 1 minus 6. So 1 minus 1 is 0, minus 6 is -6. So this here is -6. Who with me?
I am.
Okay. Now, you see, on this graph, we have a +6 and a +6, a 0 and a 0, a -4 and a -4, a -6 and a -6. We have 2 of each, right? Now, if your graph is y equals to x squared minus x minus 6, when you plot your graph, it will open upwards like this. If this was a negative, then your graph would open downwards like this. So that gives you an idea how your graph would stay. Negative, it opens downward. Positive, it opens upwards. So far, so good? Now, what I want you to do, write down those points so when I go to my graph paper, I don't have to come back. Write down all the points on that table, because we got to plot them. All right, can I go now? -3. What was the first point?
3, 6.
-3 or +3?
-3.
-3, +6. So that is
Yes.
1 point. Next point.
-2 and 0.
-2 and 0. Next point.
-1, -4.
-1, -4.
0,
Zero,
-6.
-6.
0, -6.
1 and negative 6.
1 and negative 6.
2 and negative 4.
2 and negative 4.
3 and 0.
3 and 0.
4 and 6.
4 and 6. If you notice here, we have points match up. We have here points, right? So now, our job is to make a smooth curve. Now, you see, at the bottom here, we just don't go across. We got to come down a little bit to make that curve like that, okay? And then we try as best as possible to make my curve. Because you would have your pencil, you do it nice and lightly first. Go a little bit past and you put an arrow. That means the line can go on forever. Same thing I do here. And that is your parabola. That is good enough. All those who understand so far.
I'm not really understanding.
Well, all right. You understand? You understand how to plot your table? Get these points.
Oh, never mind. I understand now. I just thought it was supposed to be downwards because I thought it was a negative x2, but I understand. Thank you.
So once you plot your point, everything that you do now will depend on what you draw. You understand that? So we would have completed the table. We would have completed this and we graph it. Now it says on the same axis, draw the graph of y equals to 2x. How do we go about doing that? Y. Remember, we are accustomed to see y equals to mx plus c. Y, in this case, y would be equals to minus 2x because minus 2 is the m, right? But we don't have a y, intercept. When there's nothing at the end here, imagine it is plus 0. That means this line would pass through the origin. That means here, let me use pink. That means this here would be a point on the line. You with me?
Yes, sir.
So minus 2x. I'm gonna write minus 2x. So this minus 2 is our gradient, right? So now that we know this point, minus 2, that means I will go up 1, 2, and across to my left 1. 1, 2, across 1. 1, 2, 1. Right? And if I want, I can come down 1, 2, across 1. 1, 2, across 1. And that is enough point to draw my line. I just draw my line now. That will pass through those points on the line that I draw. I go a little bit beyond.
You were supposed to pass through 0, weren't you?
Oh, sorry. So
and you're supposed to use your dotted pink line?
Oh, yes. Sorry about that. Let me go back so that I don't give you wrong information. I have to. It is. Where is it? It's negative 2, right? So I was correct. No, I was correct. I have to use here and pass through here. That's the point I had to do. I have to pass through that 0 because 0 is the point on the line. Okay, you with me now? Yes, no?
Yes.
So that is the line. That is the line that I had to draw. So the name of this line here is y equals to minus 2 x. Because they give you that, you have to label it. And then the parabola would be y equals to x squared. This is y equals to x squared minus x minus 6. So those are the two graphs that we did. The parabola, this smooth curve here is called a parabola, and this is a straight line, that the second graph that we did. Who understands so far?
I understand.
Now they say, write down the point. You see this what? Write down the points of intersection of these two lines. So when we go to here, it intersect. This line intersect this curve at 2 points. Let me use a different color so that we can. It intersects here, and it intersects there. So we gotta write down the coordinates of this point and that. What is the coordinate of that point up there?
-2, 6.
Negative
2, 6.
No, not 2.
That's
Negative
3. -3.
So that point is -3, 6. And what is this point here?
2, -4.
2, -4. So those are the answers that you would write for this one. Okay? Those are and that is how you get your 2.1 for each of them. It says now, draw the line of symmetry for the parabola. The line of symmetry will divide the parabola into two congruent parts. So we get our ruler and pencil, and we've looked. This bottom here is called the vortex, and we got to look at and see the lowest point. So the line would go through here. And normally you draw it with a broken line. Okay? You with me?
That's all.
You draw that with a broken line. So I'm gonna put a different color on this one so we don't get mixed up. So this line here is called the axis of symmetry. And the axis of symmetry divides the parabola into two equal parts. You see, when we look at this lower point here, it is between 0 and 1, right? So what would you say that this line pass through? Let me come back to you. You will have. You see, it says write down the equation of the line of symmetry. Let me go back here now. Now, the line of symmetry, the equation will always be x equals to a number. A number. So when we go on our axis, we see what number it passes through. Between 0 and 1 is 0.5. So the name of this axis of symmetry is x equals to 0.5. Not because it runs like the y-axis, it could be y. You got to look at the point where it passes through. And in this case, it passes through the x-axis. All those who understand that.
I have a question.
Go right ahead.
May I ask for the formula for the vertex?
Okay. The coordinate of the vortex would be you will need that when you do extended. You don't need a formula to calculate this. You don't have any calculation to do in the core paper. And when I do the extended, I'm doing that on Monday night. I'm going to show you, those of you who are there, how to do that. This point here has an x, the vortex. This would be, it would have a minimum, as in this case, or if the parabola turn like this, it would have a maximum value. And the coordinate would be whatever your axis of symmetry, in this case, would be 0.5. And then when you come across here, it will be 6, -6.5, because this point is between 6 and 7. Is that so? So the vortex point is -5, -6.5. So this here will always be what your axis of symmetry is, because this axis of symmetry gives you two values, and you would understand that more if you do the extended paper. But for this paper, you don't need that. Okay.
Okay.
Let me try to find one more so that I can give you one more parabola to do before we can close this class. I want to make sure that we understand the parabola properly. Now, you see how the x at the end there? How do you think this curve would go up? Will end up? Will this curve open like this, or will it open like that?
It would turn downwards.
Somebody wrote on my board?
It would turn downwards?
Yes. So we got to go through it, and I want you guys to help me with that now, okay? Please don't write on the board. All right. Work out the values of these 2 points for me. Right now, so always start with the equation y equals to 6 plus x minus x squared. So it will be 6 minus, what is my x? Minus 2 minus, what is x squared? Minus 2.
It's 6 plus -2.
Oh, so yeah. Minus 2 minus 2. Okay, so this is going to be 6 minus 2. Minus and plus is minus. Minus and minus is plus 4. So 6. So this is going to be 8. Everybody agree with me? Everybody understand that?
Yes, sir.
So this value here would be 8. Let us do the next one.
Oh my God, something different.
Maybe I might be wrong. Let's go. So this is 6. Oh, plus.
Negative.
Minus 2. And then minus -2 times -2, right?
Yes, sir.
So 6 minus 2, you are with me there. Minus times minus is plus, and plus times minus is minus 4. So we go get 0?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I put that plus in here. So it is. So this here is 0. What would this one be? I'm not going to work it out. See if you can tell me quickly.
6.
This would be 6. And I can know the if it's correct because I have a -6, -6. 0, 0, 4, 4, 6, 6, right? So now remember these points so that I do. So you will get 2 points to complete that table there. And now you're going to prepare your graph paper. Because they say 8 on both sides and 8 on both sides, in a case like this, you can divide your paper into half and you will get enough space. Okay? Because both sides have the same amount of space. So if you divide your paper in half, you will have enough space. You think you understand what I'm talking about?
Yes,
-3, -6. So let's go. -3, -6. Give me the next point.
-2, 0.
-2, 0.
-1, 4.
0,
6.
6.
1, 6. 2, 4.
Mm-hmm.
3, 0,
Mm-hmm.
4, -6.
This is actually like the last one, but in the opposite direction, right? So again, I can't come across. Let me use my color. So I go up a little to make this nice smooth curve there, right? And then I join my points. And that would be good enough for you. You'll get your full points for a curve like that. Remember, don't ever attempt to use ruler, okay? So you would get that point and you would get this 4 points for that. So 6 points you'll get so far. It says on the, let us label it. Y equals to, this is our Y equals to 6 plus X minus X squared. Plus X minus X squared. The next one says, pardon me?
I have a question.
Go right ahead.
How much of these graphs do they normally put in the
You
exam?
get one. You don't get both. If they put this one here in 2011, they give you the parabola to draw. Previous years, they give you a straight line graph, but you don't get both at the same time. You always get one graph.
Okay.
So just like how we have here, this means you can put on a +0, or that means it will cross the y-axis at 0, and we can use it to do our graph. That one was a -2, so we had to go on the negative side, you see? And this one was a +2, that means we got to go on the opposite side. So when we go to our graph, this would be the point, and I will go up 1, 2 across 1, 1, 2 across 1, 1, 2 across 1, and I can come down 1, 2 across 1, 1, 2, 1, 2 across 1, 1, 2 across 1, and now I can draw my line. I don't have to have more. Let me use, I start from there and draw my line to pass through all these points that I just draw.
Mr. K,
Yeah?
can you go over that part, please?
Which part? Now, you see, this is C. C says on the same coordinate plane, we are drawing this graph, right? This is the graph. Remember, a straight line graph is y equals to mx plus c. The c is where it crosses the y-axis. In this graph, there's no c. So when there's no c, it will pass through at 0. And that is why I put that 0 there to show you. And this 2 in front of the x is a positive gradient. And that will help us to graph the line. So if this is our starting point, I go up 1, 2, and across 1, because 2 means 2 over 1. 1, 2 across 1, and I will get all my points. If I come down in the opposite direction, I come down 1, 2, and across 1. And then I connect those points to draw that line. And the name of this line here would be y equals to 2x. You don't have to put in the +0. That is the name of that line there. Who with me? Yes, no? So
I am.
Yes, sir.
you see the same question? Write down the points of intersection. So you look there and tell me what are the points of intersection.
3, no, that's 2, 4.
Go ahead.
And
3, 4.
negative
2, 4.
All right, let's do this point first. What is this point?
Negative
Negative
3.
3,
Negative 3, negative 6.
Negative 3, comma, negative 6. What is this point?
2, 4.
2.
2, comma, 4. So you know how to get your points, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And the last point, let me see you get any more. You see, write the equation of the axis of symmetry. Again, the axis of symmetry, you draw it in. I'm going to draw it in. Remember, it is between here, so it is halfway. So you go to the vortex there, and you start from there, and you can draw a broken line to it. Show this. So what would be the axis of symmetry there?
0.5.
No. The axis.
0.4.
No. Write down the equation of the axis of symmetry.
X equals 0.5.
That would be correct. It would be x. Remember, your axis of symmetry is always x equal, and it is halfway between 0 and 1, so it is 0.5. So you come and write your answer here. X is equal to 0.5 because that is where it passes through. Now, another question that they can bring that I haven't seen here, they can say, write down the x coordinates or the x the x value. They can actually write down the x values when y equals to 4. Write down the x values when y equals to 4. So in a question like that, they didn't ask you for that, but I just thought of telling you that. So you look on your y-axis to find 4. This is 4. So all I need is a line that passes through 4. You see? And then your x values would be, when you look at this point and you come down, would be -1. And you look here, would be 2. So you got to listen what they say. If they ask you for coordinates, you write if they ask for the x value, you look at there and you come down. This is your x value, -1. If you look here, this is your x value is -2. If they ask you for coordinate now, your x value would be -1, 4. That is the coordinate. Your x value is there and the y goes there. So these are the coordinates. If they ask you for the value, is only what you see on the x. Do you understand
So when
that?
they ask, I have a question. When they ask for the x values, they're basically asking for where the x
The x
values where the
coordinate, yeah.
intersect.
The x coordinate. What they're basically asking you, when y is 4, what is x? So when y is 4, this is y. When y is 4 at this point, your x would be -1. When y is 4 at this point, your x would be 2 at this point here.
So we would have two answers.
Yeah, because the line cuts the parabola at 2 different points.
Okay.
But let us say they draw the line up here, right? Let's say your parabola was something like this, and that was the point. They can ask you, in this case, the x would only have when y is 8, x would only have one value because it's only 1 point, and that would be 0. You see that? It didn't cross 2 different places. So we can't really teach everything. I just can give you the skills. Everybody with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now you see this. Look at this question. This is a parabola, but it don't have a plus, a number at the back here. So you know this can be this last number will be. That means when you graph this parabola, somebody's writing on my board again, and I know it's who. Somebody name begin with T. Please, don't do that. I can go back to the recording and know who did it. I saw your name pop up when you write it. Come on. So this, if this is your graph, and you graph this parabola would open upwards, and the line will cross there. That is what your parabola would look like. You think you understand? Now what I want you to do, right, is to take a picture of this, and when you go home, you're going to practice it. In this one here, you have to be precise on when you're making up your axis. If you draw it in the middle, you would not have enough space. Because you see, on the left-hand side of the X, you would have from -3, on the right-hand side up to 7. And this one, at the bottom of 0, you will have up to -6, and going up, you have to have 14. So if you just divide your graph paper into half and half, you will not have enough space. You have to use the method that I showed you. You see again, line of symmetry or axis of symmetry is the same thing. The points where the two lines cross is the same thing. And in this case, you got to draw this. So what will be your starting point to graph this line here? It will be 4 on the y-axis, right? And then your gradient would be up 1. It is a -1, so you will go up 1 and across 1, right? Up 1 and across 1 to get that.
Yes, sir.
I think we have enough time to work out this last one. So I'm not going to work out the values. You work out the values for me. And everybody, please try to do something. Was this class of benefit to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you think you have a better understanding? I know some of you are in government schools, some of you are private students, some of you are in private schools. But the goal here is to give everybody a chance to be successful at this exam. I hope that I was of help to some of you, or if not all of you.
You could go over the part where on C2 draw the graph of y equals 4 subtract x.
All right. You all work out those points. We gonna go step by step. Work out the box to get you 2 points to me. What do you get for here?
-5.
5 or -5?
5.
5.
5. What do you get for here?
-3.
-3.
-3. And I see 12, 12, 5, 5, 0, 0, -3, -3, 4. So we will write down those points so that I can plot it. You see, we're going to graph that now. Negative. So help me to remember the points. Write it down quickly so that when I go, I don't like turn back on the graph paper. -2, 12, right? So that is 1 point. What was the next point?
-1, 5.
-1, 5, and the next point?
0, 0.
0, 0.
1, -3.
1, -3.
2, 4.
2, 4.
2, -4. Sorry, 2,
Yeah, yes.
4.
And then the next one will be 3, -3.
Yes, sir. 3, -3.
Then the next one will be 4, 0.
And then 5, 5.
4, 0 is correct?
Yes, sir.
And then 5, 5.
And
And
then
then
6,
6,
12.
12. Right? Or what? 6, 12, right?
Yes, yes, it's right.
Because I can look at it and see what it is telling me, right? So look at this now. You see, I don't have to come below because this vortex point is right on that line, right? So in this case, your vortex point would be 2, -4. And this here would be your axis of symmetry, right? And we go come to that. And this -4 is the lowest point that this parabola can go. So what I'm going to do, let me complete my drawing. The only way you gonna get good at this is if you go home and practice, right? So what is the name of that line? Y equals to x squared minus 4x. Y equals to x squared minus 4x. So we would have done that, and we would have done that for 6 points. Now on the same graph, draw this. Remember I said that this line here, if you want, you can swing this around. Y equals to 4 minus x is the same thing as y equals to minus x plus 4, right? So this plus 4 is your y-intercept. So we use this to get our starting point. So on our y-axis, let me use a blue, plus 4, this would be our starting point. Good? And our gradient is -1. That means -1 over 1. That means I will go up 1 and 1 to our left-hand side. I will go up 1 and 1 to my left-hand side. 1, 1 to my left-hand side. 1, that's enough there. I start at 1, 1 to my left hand. 1, I can stop there. And now I draw my line. Starting from there, and I come down there, make sure I join all those lines. So that is my line that I will have. The person who asked the question, do you know how I draw that now? This equation here is a straight line. And remember, whatever is in front of the x is your gradient, and this is your y-intercept. And once you know that, the y-intercept would be your starting point to graph the line. You with me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So now we have this. So what are the next thing to ask? What are the coordinates where the two lines intersect? So first of all, what is this point here?
-1, 5.
So -1, 5 would be 1 point. And what is this point here?
4, 0.
Why not 0, 4?
Because 4 is on the x-axis and not on the y.
Yeah, very good. And your first number always come from that. So the answer for this one would be -1. I can't remember. -1, 5. -1, 5 and 4, 0. 4, 0. So we would have graphed that for 2 points. We would have named that for 2 points. So now I'm not going to tell you now. Look at it and tell me what is your axis of symmetry. You can draw it in and then tell me what it is.
X equals 2.
X equals 2 because it passed through this is the right or that is our axis of symmetry. And you see divide the parabola into 2 equal parts. So the answer for this one is, you see draw, you get 1 for draw and 1 for write down. If you don't draw, or you only write, or if you draw and you don't write down, only 1 point. Draw and write down. You draw and X equals to 2. That is how you get your 2 points. Everybody think you're in a better position to do any one of the graph that comes to you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any question before I let you guys go? And the chicken. Any question? What topic you want me to do with you next week?
Can you go over volume, please? Next week.
Next week? Okay. In the first hour of next week, I'm going to go through. All right. I must see how far we're going to get in the mensuration for next week. Area, perimeter, circle, and all those things, right? Do you guys know how to do transformation?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
But
sir.
we could go with that.
Okay, well, so I'm gonna do it seems that most people want the volume for next week. So next week I'm gonna
And
attack
trigonometry.
Did I do trigonometry the first week?
Yes, sir.
Yes. But I can still go it over, but I wouldn't go spend a lot of time on it.
That's okay.
I want to make sure I cover as much topics as I can. But
you could still do transformation for me, please. I mean, it don't have to be no long process of only.
I will do transformation because transformation has 11 points. So I want to do that to make sure everybody understands it.
Okay, thank you.
If you go on the site and go on the recording for last week, you will see trigonometry there. And if you still don't understand it, I will go it over for you guys.